sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better, pain-free life with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
Houses? They're expensive. And once you buy one, you're kind of stuck with it for a while. You need to make sure you get your best house for the best price. You need Ben Bleicher and his team of pros at Professional Realty Group. They'll take the time to figure out what's important for you in your dream home, and they have the expertise to find the hidden issues that could surprise you after the sale. That's professional knowledge, proactive service. We call that potential. Ben Bleicher and the team at Professional Realty Group of Berkshire Hathaway's home service ambassador. Find more online at prg-ne.com.
It's football season, and that means coaches everywhere are busy making game plans. Hi, my name is Seth Morris with Liberty Law Group. Teams make game plans because no two opponents are the same. At Liberty Law, we know no two cases are the same. Whether it's a DUI, a criminal charge, or you were injured and it wasn't your fault, we tailor our legal game plan to meet your unique needs. We are relentless trial attorneys serving all of Nebraska. To learn more, go to libertylawnebraska.com. Again, that's libertylawnebraska.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill. Open for lunch and dinner at 10th and P or at 1501 Center Park Road.
This is the Happy Hour.
You guys going to happy hour?
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America.
Yeah, I'll come for a couple.
Here are your hosts, Nick Sainert.
I want to know what it's like to commit a crime without having to spend time in jail.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
C is for chunk.
Brought to you by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. Happy days here on the Happy Hour on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. I am Rico, joined not by Nick Sainert, but by the one and only Jake Bachman.
That's right.
How are you, Bach?
Oh, not too bad. It's not a pretty good fall day outside. You know, you always like to start off with the weather.
It's a nice hoodie day today.
Yeah,
it's a great hoodie day, which I am a big fan of hoodies, and I have way too many of. But welcome in, everybody, to the Happy Hour, sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting. We appreciate everything that they do for us. Join us today on our journey through the Matt Rhule bye-week press conference and another slow bye week here at Husker football land, as we break down the press conference way too much and talk about all of the injuries that the offense has to face. Join us, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, Starter Heyman text line, and on the Starter Heyman Jewelers live video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. Also, channel 951 on Allo if you have that. But Bach, we're just gonna hop right into it because there was a lot, and also, it's really just about like three players, and those players are Marcus Washington, who is out for the rest of the year with a torn ACL. Because why not? Because why not? Nebraska's offense have to face another injury to somebody who was actually doing something. Mm-hmm. The quarterback situation, which I'm just gonna say is one player. It's two players, but it's just the quarterbacks, and Anthony Grant, who is not good with Coach Rhule.
Who's publicly getting
not in the doghouse,
scorned again, not in the doghouse,
but not good with Coach Matt Rhule.
Yeah,
which is a weird way to say things. It's not in the doghouse. It's not good with me though.
Yeah.
What is it? What does it mean?
Here's some public negativity for him. Let's see. But he's not in the doghouse.
Yeah. So again, we're just hopping right into it. The bye week presser was today after the win over Illinois 20-7. Nebraska has a bye week and then hosts Northwestern, I believe, for homecoming next weekend. Northwestern also on a bye week. So 2 bye week teams meeting up next week. But this is Nebraska's starting running back, Anthony Grant, who was the starting running back last year, had some issues in the offseason, which led him to be the 3rd string running back to start the season. Number 1, Gabe Irvin has a hip injury, I believe is what it was. Number 2, Ramir Johnson, a shoulder injury, both done for the year. Insert Anthony Grant, who has run pretty well, but has also shown some of his fumble issues. So this is what Matt Rhule had to say about Anthony Grant.
Well, he's not okay with me because he keeps fumbling the ball. I love Anthony, but you can't play for us if you can't control the ball. So Anthony, he's got to improve that. Not in the doghouse. Like, people take things the wrong way. He's got a skill that is not showing up. It's very simple. To me, it's all technical. Football's never emotional for me. It's just technical. So I have to get that fixed for Anthony. And Anthony has to get that fixed for Anthony, or he can't play, because we can't, you can't fumble the ball in practice on Tuesday and then fumble it again in practice on Wednesday, then fumble it in 4 minutes on Saturday and think you're going to play the next week. So I think the bye week comes at a great time because Anthony can really work on that this week. He's got such great vision. He has all these things, but he has one skill that's preventing him from playing at the level I think he could play at. So, he's healthy, all those things, but I'm counting on Anthony, and I need him, and we need him to step up, and we need him to very simply cover the top of the ball and not run with the ball like this. And so I don't know what else to do other than to say what I just said. I said it to him, obviously, but say what I just said so he hears it, because he's a really good player that could probably play for many years after this. But you're not playing for Bill Belichick if you fumble the ball. You're not playing for Mike Tomlin if you fumble the ball. So we need him this week to really make a step.
So Anthony Grant, all the talent in the world. We saw it last year. We've seen it in spurts this season so far. The fumble issues just coming back to bite him again against Illinois. It's something that he was running hard, got more carries than the other running backs, even as the 3rd string against Minnesota, but a fumble, which cost Nebraska the win, kind of, again, not put him in the doghouse, but had him not running, not carrying the pill as much after that game. I as Matt Rhule said, not really much else to say except for, dude, cover it up. There's only so much, and I was never a football coach, but there's only so much you can do coaching wise with a player until they start doing it themselves. Like, you can keep telling them over and over. You can run through all of these drills and these ideas, and you can have them walk around campus carrying a football and just tell people, if you see Anthony Grant carrying a football, try to punch it out, make sure he's holding on to it. But after a certain period, and I say this all the time, after a certain period for coaches, it falls on the players to make a play on the field or to make sure they don't fumble the ball. That's really all it comes down to. After so much coaching, there's only so much you can do before it falls on the players, and they need to make that decision for themselves, whether they're going to listen and pay attention and put into work all of the things you've been telling them or not.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think when you look at a coach in the long term, you would grade a coach based on things like penalties and turnovers. But when you look at a coach that inherits a team that struggles with penalties and turnovers and is still struggling with penalties and turnovers, it's hard to really know where to place the blame, I suppose. But one way or the other, they've got to fix it. And I agree with you. At some point, it's got to be a player-led thing, and that's what Matt Rhule's been trying to get. I mean, you can hear it in his press conferences, whether it's this issue or others, where like the coaching staff is doing everything they can, and always and publicly calling out the players to kind of be making a player-led movement, or the players to start to do what they can. And it's kind of interesting when you look at this with Anthony Grant. It's just been a rocky road with Matt Rhule since he's joined. He was suspended for the first part of the spring, changed his number. I don't know if there's much to do with that, about that. Single digits. It's not a single digit when it's 10, but with Heinrich Harbert going in, I don't know what kind of I guess what happened with that, but you would have figured Grant was one of the stars of the team last year.
I would think he had seniority at least.
Yeah, you would think. And in any case, he didn't get a single digit number, which was supposed to be, an honor. He didn't get a starting spot. Like you said, starting out third. I mean, it's just been really rocking. I don't know where he'd be on the starting, how many snaps he'd get if Gabe Urban and Ramir Johnson stayed healthy. Obviously, if you hear from Matt Rhule, you can't play for him if you fumble the ball. So I don't think it would be too many. And so it's just very strange to get all of that. The season, everything's kind of aligned to where Matt Rhule doesn't really have a choice. He's got to play Anthony Grant. And, you hope that you would think that, have the confidence in Anthony Grant to fix this along with what, they're teaching him. They gave him 20 carries against Illinois. And again, did fumble again. And, I think there's another quote in there where he's talking about him fumbling throughout the week. It's just at some point you can tell Coach Rhule's tried to push every button and it's just not changing the way that Anthony Grant carries the ball. And at the same time, if you carry the ball one way through your entire career and Anthony Grant's like, he's 24 or something. I mean, he's not just your typical even senior running back. He's an older guy. It's going to be hard to break that habit. And secondly, have it feel natural the way that it's supposed to be.
And it's even harder now because, as you just said, with the injuries, after Anthony Grant, you have a converted wide receiver who's playing running back, who did play running back at Baylor, and Josh Fleeks. But you have Anthony Grant, who is your most veteran running back right now on the roster. You have Josh Fleeks. You have Quentin Ives. You have I don't even know who you have. You have Emmett Johnson before Quentin Ives. Then you have Quentin Ives. Then you have a walk-ons, maybe some younger guys, but like Anthony Grant is your best bet at running back to win games. Like I feel like that's just a fact. If you put anybody else in there, they're not going to be good as Anthony Grant. I think we can all agree on that one, right? Yeah. Well, if you're trying to win games, which they are trying to do, you have to play him. So even with the fumble issues, and Matt Rhule says, look, you can't play for me if you have fumble issues. I mean, at a certain point, if you're going to stay true to your word on that, you're going to have to start Fleeks. You're going to have to start Johnson. You're going to have to bring Quentin Ives in. Like, you're going to have to bring these other running backs in to show Anthony Grant, because right now, and look, I'm not taking a shot at him, but right now, he knows he's the top dog. He knows he's their best chance to win games at running back. So if he keeps fumbling and he knows, look, you can't take me out because I'm that dude. Again, I'm not saying this is how he thinks. But if he believes that, then what would be the point in him changing the way that he runs with the ball if he's going to get the ball regardless?
Yeah, I think that probably, at least makes him feel better about if he does fumble, what can happen there. But the other thing is Nebraska is just so forced. I mean, it's not like they could say, oh, we don't have much of a running back, let's pass the ball more. They just don't have the offense for that.
Can't really pass the ball. Plus, you're out your number, what, 1, 2? What would you have considered Marcus Washington? Your number 1 or your number 2? I said all offseason that I thought that he was going to be the number 1 receiver.
It depends on how you put it. I mean, because he's an outside receiver where Billy Kemp's not. Billy Kemp's their leading receiver. So it's tough. But, I mean, the designated, I suppose that would be tough. But in actuality, you could make the argument that Nebraska doesn't have a number 1 receiver, both in the way that, typically you would want a guy to kind of take over that role and be the leader of the team. Or, just in saying that, like, any given game, I don't know who's going to lead the team or who they'll rely on. I do like the fact that they've kind of found different ways to get Billy Kemp the ball. Remember, he didn't get a touch against Minnesota, and they needed to fix that. They have fixed that for an offense that's so limited. But it's interesting, too, because Marcus Washington, with his injury, his last 2 catches, basically, were big plays against Michigan, and then this past week against Illinois before he got injured. And Nebraska doesn't have a whole lot of big play threats. I mean, they've been running Tommy Hill out there to get it. So Marcus Washington, at least, and he doesn't have like incredible burner speed or anything like that, but he turned into that, at least was that guy for Nebraska. And as soon as he starts to become that guy, he's out for the season.
Which is just Nebraska, right?
This year, yeah.
That's just so many injuries at the skill positions on offense that have just taken you out. All of the transfers before the season even started. Like, you lose Xavier Betts to just not wanting to play football anymore before the season starts, really shortly before the season starts. You lose Isaiah Garcia Castaneda in the first game on his birthday to a torn ACL for the rest of the season. And now you lose Marcus. It was his birthday.
You remember that, huh?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, dude, this sucks. That's the worst birthday present ever. First you lose the game, and then you find out you're not going to play the rest of the season. The worst birthday ever. And then Marcus Washington is to a torn ACL as he's starting to break out and become that guy. So Nebraska's offense, passing offense, just seems like it's doomed to not be great. However, you do have some young guys in the wings. You do have a Jaden Doss coming back from an arm injury. You do have a Jalen Lloyd, who is a burner in his own right, and to me was the second best freshman receiver in the class. And then you have Malachi Coleman, who just an overall athlete, got his first catch in college out of the way, so that's a weight off of his shoulders, and was targeted a lot in that game towards the end by Heinrich Harburg. So maybe that's a sign of things to come during the bye week and hopefully against Northwestern, where Malachi Coleman sees more reps. But you've got Billy Kemp. You've got a whole bunch of young guys. You've got Alex Bullock. Like your wide receiving core is just hanging on by a thread right now. And it sucks because you have quarterbacks who have a goal of 65% completion on the season, but neither one of them looks like they're going to. Well, first off, Jeff Sims, I don't know if he's going to play the rest of the season, depending on how the injury works and what the coaches decide, but it looks a little rough for either of them to reach that mark just based on what we've seen through 6 games.
Well, and even if they do, it's just not, it's not like a naturally natural looking pass attack. I mean, even the throws at times. So, I mean, it's going to be a big obstacle for Nebraska to overcome. But again, this is an offense that averages 19 points per game. It's not, it's not entirely creative. Whether you have watched it or not, it's not going to blow you away with athleticism. So yeah, they're kind of taking their hits as they go. But really, if you're talking about making small improvements, which I think is what this offense is geared toward, you're not looking to all of a sudden turn into the Kurt Warner led Rams, basketball and grass type of stuff. But if you want to get from 19 points per game to 24 points per game, I think that's a fair ask if you're on the defensive side to get some support from your offense. It doesn't have to be magical. It really is as simple as hold on to the ball and make some field goals. And because they've struggled in both those areas. Now we did see the field goal kicking unit 2 out of 3. Okay. It's improvement, right? We're asking for improvement.
Yeah. So he is 4 for 7. He is 3 for 7.
3 of 7. Not great again, but improvement. And so, that's part of it, but still scoring 20 points. I mean, they might be able to do it. I mean, this is a team that might be able to go bowling by averaging 20 points per game. I can see it because their next few games. I mean, they're going to win. I've been a lot of these 20-6 or
a lot of
type
rock
of games.
fights.
Yeah. And that's good. I mean, this defense, it shown that it can take that. I mean, that was kind of tough to watch. If you're thinking on the defensive side of the ball, it's just like, give us a break. And then eventually, like, there's certain games, like the Colorado game, it's like, yeah, they ended up losing. They were up down. Matt Rhule goes back to they're down 13-7 midway through the third quarter. At some point, it's just like, how many stops do we have to get any support here? And at some point, maybe your kind of will breaks. So the team, the offensive coordinator, I mean, they get paid too. They're going to figure something out. And luckily, Nebraska's defense was able to still hold Illinois down. I mean, that was ultimately lets you know that was just a mismatch. I don't know if there's all that many mismatches left. Although there could be, there's not great offenses coming your way in the next 3 weeks.
Your next 3 games are, and I've said it before, they're completely winnable. They're also completely losable.
Yeah.
Because you're not facing a murderer's row of teams on the offensive or defensive side of the ball. Statistically, I brought it up earlier on the drive, in terms of yards per play on the offensive and defensive side of the ball, Nebraska is better than the next 3 teams that they're facing. Northwestern, Northwestern, Purdue, Michigan State, right? In that order, maybe?
Yep.
So you've got those 3. Northwestern dealing with what they dealt with in the offseason, dealing with an interim head coach. Purdue with a new head coach at the helm, is in his first year as a head coach there. Michigan State with an interim new head coach at the helm. Like, you're dealing with teams who have their own set of issues, who have, 2 of them have worse issues than you do, just dealing with a new coach. The other one is in the same boat as you. But again, statistically, you are better than all 3 of these teams. But again, that means absolutely nothing on paper, because Nebraska has statistically been better than a lot of teams that they've ended up losing to. But
then again, like, cherry picking a yards per play stat is good.
Yes.
Until a fumble, until a missed field goal.
Exactly.
Right. I mean, so
when you shoot yourself in the foot, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Because those teams, maybe not yards per play, but Nebraska's dead last in scoring in the Big Ten.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's the bottom line.
They've got a -7 turnover ratio.
Yes.
Like, they're turning it over way too many times, and they're not forcing enough turnovers to stay competitive in these games. If Nebraska were able to, and that's the weird part is they're fumbling, they're throwing interceptions, but they're not recovering fumbles. They're not getting interceptions all that much, or at least when they do, they're turning it over a lot more times than they do forced turnovers. So if Nebraska can just be average in that aspect, I feel like it would help them so much more. But the defense, as Rhule said, this is a defensive-led team. They need to realize that this is their team and they need to take ownership. It feels like they did that against Illinois, where they're like, look, we're not going to get a lot of support. We just have to shut them down. We just have to just stop them from doing anything, which is exactly what they did, and let the offense do whatever the offense does. They left 17 more points out there on the field, 2 fumbles in the red zone, the interception, and the missed field goal. Like, they left so many points out there for an offense that's already struggling. You can't do that. You can't, because as soon as you score, it gives you more momentum, and maybe it re-energizes the defense. Maybe it'll re-energize you, and you'll be able to get back into field goal position, make a field. Like Tristan Alvano, once he gets that swagger back that he had in high school, his senior year at Westside, maybe that will help this offense. Actually, no, not maybe. It will definitely help this offense, because when you get in the red zone, at this point, it's almost as if it's touchdown or nothing, because he can't make a field goal right now.
Well, and then that's where they have to kind of make the adjustment to play calling, which they didn't do against Minnesota. Kind of just having Sims like, if you can get 3 out of a possession, that's a win for this Nebraska offense. It just is, because you're not scoring enough points.
Mm-hmm.
So, 3rd and long in the red zone, something like that, maybe run a draw, and maybe some people will get upset. But, depending on time and score and all that, I get it. But, this is, and then, but you're still not at the point where you think Alvano is definitely going to hit it. So, I mean, it's an uphill battle for this offense. But again, it doesn't have to be as bad as it looks on the scoreboard if you just don't turn the ball over and hit some field goals. That's a simple solution. Like there's all these limitations to the passing game, and your runners are beat up and this and that. But I still think they can continue doing what they've been doing for the most part. You're not going to run into a whole lot of Michigans that are going to pretty much shut you out outside of a few drives.
I think you have one or two more defenses that aren't to the level of Michigan, but are solid defenses, and that's the last 2 that you're going to face on the season.
Yeah,
in Iowa and Wisconsin. Maryland is really good at forcing turnovers, though, which is a scary thought, because they also are one of the best offenses in the country.
A couple of weeks ago, as I was trying to convince Jay Foreman in the postgame show that Nebraska's probably not going to beat Maryland.
No.
You think that's kind of where everybody's at now, is having seen Maryland compete with Ohio State?
You're not, even before the Ohio, you're not going to beat Maryland.
I don't think so.
And I said this earlier.
It's going to be hard to score.
You're not going to. Raph was trying to tell me it's a snowball. If they just win and they keep the snowball effect, will keep going, and they'll be able to beat Maryland. I go, I don't care how many games in a row you win. You're not, with this team as they are, unless they make some massive improvements. Even with the defense is solid. The defense is really good. With the way that they play now, offensively, they will not beat Maryland.
Yeah,
because they will turn the ball over, and they will put their defense in bad positions. For a team that is filled with athletes like Maryland, there's no way. But if your defense plays the way that they have in the beginning of the season, you will beat Purdue. You will beat Northwestern. You will beat Michigan State. Have you seen those guys play? They're not great. Your defense is the key to you winning games. Your offense, all they have to do is not turn it over. That's it. As long as they can do that, they can score. They can do enough to win these games, because the defense is going to put it on their back.
Which I think is really intriguing. Obviously, Heinrich Harburg's done a solid enough job of not turning the ball over too much. Boy, did he almost throw 3 straight picks on a 2-minute drill. I think that kind of hopefully teaches them the lesson. Hey, 2-minute drills, unless need be at the end of the game, maybe. Otherwise, you probably not be too aggressive there. Just take the score in half. But other than that, I mean, he's not been so turnover prone. And again, I'm just so interested, once Jeff Sims is 100% healthy, or as close to 100% as they will call him 100%, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If you try to give him another look, because you have a thin, we talk about this all the time. There's just got such a thin margin for error here. If you just say, well, let's just try Jeff Sims against Northwestern, and he doesn't get rid of the interception bug, or, the turnover bug, and you lose that game because he's got 4 turnovers, and it's like, okay, now we'll go back to Harburg. Well, it might be too late by then to make a bowl game.
Yeah. You can't. That's the thing is, I want to see Jeff Sims again. I feel like, and I don't think this is, I feel like he has a higher ceiling than Heinrich Haarberg, but he also has a much lower floor than Heinrich Haarberg.
I think he's got a higher ceiling maybe this year. I think Haarberg, as he develops, if he can develop a passing game, he's got a lot to work with. That's why, I think Haarberg, it's kind of weird watching him play, has developed into a guy that I think is developmentally something I'm excited about down the line, is a guy that I think could be your quarterback of the future. The unfortunate part is he's your quarterback of the present because you don't have a choice. And I don't think he's like, he's fine. He's fine where he is, but we don't have to pretend like he's throwing for 200 yards a game. Not one Nebraska quarterback has thrown for 200 yards a game, and we're halfway through the season. And maybe that's not their goal or whatever, but at some point, usually, especially if a defense is going to take away your run, it's not asking a whole lot to get 200 yards passing.
Like, even if you want to be a smash mouth, run the ball football team, your quarterback still at 6 games in should have had at least one 200-yard game because defenses realize, they want to run the ball. Let's pack the box. Wide receivers need to get open. The quarterback's got to hit them. It's simple. Yeah, well, it's simple to say. It's not simple to do.
It's easy for us to sit back and complain about all this stuff.
Exactly.
But there's a lot of pretty tough physical athletes.
Look, I could armchair quarterback win all of these games.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Except for Michigan. I would have lost that game too. That's a good team. Yeah. That's a good team. But that's to do it for the first segment here. When we come back, I kind of want to get into the quarterback discussion and what would you do in this bye week if Sims is, they said he's been able to practice, just about except for the week that he first got injured, but every week after that, they said he's been able to practice. What would you be looking for, and what would your plan be going into that Northwestern game? And I want to get your guys' takes on that too. 402-464-5685 on the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. During this bye week and the week leading up to Northwestern, let's say Jeff Sims at 100%, he's able to practice. Him and Heinrich are battling it out in practice. What are your thoughts? Who do you go with to start the Northwestern game? Coming up next on the Happy Hour 93.7 The Ticket.
Follow Nick and Enrique on Twitter at Nick_Sainert and at Radio Rico AC. More of Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Action Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electric is the call I make when I have a need for plumbing services. Whether it's for my home or office, if I need a repair to a water heater, softener, or even my garbage disposal, I know I can count on Action to help. In one simple call, their amazing customer service team promptly schedules a service call, often getting to my needs within a day. Action delivers honest, quality services we can count on. To learn more, visit actionlincoln.com.
Tune in to the Malone Radio Show from 9 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night to learn more about the Malone Center's goal to eliminate multi-generational poverty in Lincoln. It's the Malone Radio Show every Sunday night from 9 to 10 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and man, the October incentives get better. You won't want to miss this. Happening right now at Coppell, you have 0% financing or $6,500 off MSRP on select new half-ton crew cab pickups. Yes, you heard right. Happening right now until the end of the month. 0% financing or $6,500 off sticker price. Those incentives are the best we've seen this entire year. Hurry on in while supplies last. Just take that short money-saving drive down 144th Street or check us out online at CoppellCars.com. You'll be glad you did. All offers include trade-in bonus and with approved credit.
October is full of sports, with football and volleyball reaching midseason and basketball and winter sports starting up. All the excitement of the games brings major stress, and stress causes tight muscles and pain. It's time to call The Body Shop, your place in Lincoln for all types of massages: deep tissue, hydrating, sports, Swedish, hot stone, aroma, and more. And don't forget about their couples massages. Eliminate the pain from sports watching stress today with a massage at The Body Shop at 48th and A and online at thebodyshoplincoln.com.
Something spooktacular is happening at Bonsall Pool and Spa. From now until October 14th, visit the Bonsall Spooktacular sale to take advantage of this great cash and carry offer. $400 off all in-stock free-flow spas. Also, customers can take 10% off spa chemical and spa cover orders. Stop by today at 3201 Pioneers Boulevard to take home your free flow spa today. Bonsall Pool and Spa, also online at bonsallpool.com.
My dream was to work in commercial banking, but it required a college degree and I didn't have one. I found out that Doane had classes for adult learners on the Lincoln campus and online. So I earned my bachelor's degree, and 5 months later, I landed my dream job. I decided to continue my education, and now I'm working on my MBA at Doane. For me, the Doane experience has been life-changing.
When it comes to tackling your fall projects, having the right equipment can make a huge difference. At Sunbelt Rentals, they have an extensive line of tools and equipment to help complete any job. From lawn and landscape equipment to hand tools, pressure washers, portable generators for you tailgaters, and much more. Sunbelt Rentals makes it easy to get what you need when you need it. Drop in to see the experts at 5450 Alvo Road in Lincoln, or visit sunbeltrentals.com today to learn how Sunbelt Rentals can make it happen for you.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better, pain-free life with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
Brown Shoe Fit has all types of shoes for you to excel this fall. Check out their large variety of tennis shoes and dress shoes in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Merrell, On, and many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Aetrex. Stop by Brown Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln, or check out their options online at brownshoefitco.com.
Get all of your favorite restaurants delivered with VenueDelivered.com. One place for ordering delicious appetizers, refreshing salads, hot entrees, fresh sandwiches, and more. From Venue Restaurant and Lounge, Piedmont Bistro, and all Lincoln Good Sense Subs locations. Download our phone app to earn rewards on all of your carryout and delivery orders. Available on Apple and Android, just search for the Pillar Restaurants app. That's the Pillar Restaurants app. Download today.
Yet another Nebraska winter is looming, and you know you're going to need tires on your vehicle. Don't fret, they are all on sale now during the October Spectacular event at Graham Tire Company. Buy 3 Kumho tires and get the 4th tire free with the purchase of an install package. Save big on Goodyear, Hankook, Nokian, and more. Big rebates on select Goodyear tires that will double when you use your Goodyear credit card. It's their biggest sale of the year, and it's happening now. GrahamTireLincoln.com, getting you to the places that matter most.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert.
Even before you start. That was a preemptive shh.
And Enrique Alvarez Clary.
I already had someone created in my image. He's evil, he wants to take over the world, and he fits easily into most overhead storage bins.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Happy Hour. Okay, I'm done. Hi, everybody. It's Rico. It's Bach. We're here on the Happy Hour. I asked you all before the break, if you were the coaches and you're going into this bye week and you're going into the Northwestern week, and Jeff Sims, your starting quarterback, is healthy enough to practice, healthy enough to possibly go in the game, what's your plan for the week? Who's getting the first team reps? Who's getting the most reps? And when it comes down to that next Saturday, who you trotting out with that offense to start the game? Bach, what are your thoughts?
I think that at this point, I would go with Heinrich Harburg. He's 3-1 as a starter. The loss being to Michigan. Of course, you can argue about his quality of victories or whatever. Now that he's got a Big Ten victory, you can maybe subside that a little bit. I do think that I said this going into last week. I don't know if it's necessarily changed with where Harburg's level of play is. I wouldn't mind a 2-quarterback system. I think, and then maybe you go with a hot hand from there who's kind of getting it going. Because I don't think we could talk about different ceilings and the better passer and all this stuff. To what I've seen, they're about the same quarterback, and they're going to bring about the same level of, there's not going to be a whole lot of change between the offenses if you throw them out there. And that's why I think it makes sense that in this case you could conceivably put them in and do that and have a 2 quarterback system, because typically I don't like that. But so I think that would probably be my plan. At the same time, I think Harburg has also played well enough that you might just go full go with him. The only thing is that, it's kind of a delicate movement from there. If you do decide like Harburg's our starter and that's what we're doing, and then he struggles, you'd still be at a point in my mind, like if he struggles just randomly against Northwestern where he's at, that you would want to try Jeff Sims and see if he could spark it. So yeah, I think it's smart the way that Matt Rhule's been doing it, not necessarily naming a starter, let the competition go, because I don't think there's enough of a gap between them one way or the other. But I would say don't fix what's, try to fix what's not broken right now. The offense is somewhat broken, but as far as getting wins, Heinrich Harburg has engineered them to a few victories now.
Now, I guess, based on the text line, this might be a hot take. I think I'm going to start Sims. I think that in his first 2 games, he faced tougher teams than Harburg faced in his first 2. I understand that he went against Michigan. If either quarterback would have started against Michigan, it would have been bad. That's not even a question. Like Harburg struggled, Sims would have struggled. That's just a really good team. Against Illinois, that's not a good team. I don't know if Sims would have been able to. Sims probably throws an interception as well. Maybe he fumbles the ball. I don't know. I don't know if they're able to put up more points, but I just feel like the offense is still so similar with each quarterback that if Sims is healthy, he was your starter to begin the season. I'm going to let him roll in this for at least, I'm going to let him start against Northwestern. If he throws an interception, if he fumbles, he's going to be on a short leash. I'm not going to let him know he's going to be on a short leash because I don't want that to be in the back of his head. But to me, I'm going to say, look, to myself, I'm like, look, Sims was the guy that we brought in to be our starting quarterback. I'm going to give him another chance to prove that he is the starting quarterback. But if he struggles, if the offense isn't moving the ball against what looks to be a not great Northwestern team, better than we thought they were going to be this season. If he struggles against them, I'll put in Harburg. I'll put Harburg back in, ride the hot hand, so to speak. After Sims proves it, or not proves, but Sims doesn't do what I thought that he could do against Northwestern. But I'm going to give him every chance to regain that starting spot. If in practice he is doing what he was doing before, and that's the reason I named him the starter. And if he is showing out and putting on a show and outperforming Harburg in practice, yeah, I'm going to give him that chance. But if he comes back from the injury and is a step slower, is throwing interceptions in practice, isn't holding on to the ball, is doing all those things, then yeah, I'll ride the hot hand with Harburg. But I just think, and again, I understand, it's not fair. Life isn't fair, whatever. I think it's just fair to give Sims at least one more shot to prove that he is the guy that you can win with. Because again, he had he was on the road the first 2 games against the Minnesota and the Colorado. And I understand Colorado is also dealing with their own set of issues with a bad defense and a new coach and whatever. But he faced 2 Power 5 teams to start off the bat with a new regime, new coaching staff, new players, and all of that. And we saw how much they struggled. I think either quarterback would have struggled. Harburg would have struggled against Minnesota and Colorado as well. So I don't know. I'm giving him that chance against Northwestern.
Well, I mean, I do understand that it was a tougher defenses, but again, you have the proof of what Sims did against them. I mean, 3 interceptions against Minnesota, very untimely ones, 2 of them. And then, just dropping the snaps against Colorado. Rashawn the other day said something that I thought was kind of interesting, is that he thinks that Nebraska would have beaten Colorado and Minnesota with Heinrich Harburg. I don't want to put those words in his mouth, but I think that's what he said. But
somewhere along those lines.
Yes. And to me, I don't know, just saying it sounds a little bit crazy. Not crazy, but out there. But when you kind of think through it, it's like, man, if you just didn't have so many turnovers in those games, maybe you would have. Now, Colorado ended up, the score was kind of far, removed, that I don't think either team was going to score 30, or either quarterback was going to score 36. Maybe the game flow would have changed. I mean, there was just dropped snaps, fumbles left and right in that game. So perhaps I could see the argument for it. But Minnesota certainly, they might have won that game
just without the turnovers.
Yeah, just without the turnovers. I cut them in half.
Mm-hmm.
They were one play away from winning that game as is.
But even then, the costly, the worst of all of the turnovers in that game was the last one, which wasn't on Sims.
It wasn't, but like my question
wouldn't have been in that situation if he wouldn't have thrown those interceptions early.
Right.
I get that.
In the one one before the half, again, this is just not a 2-minute. You don't have a 2-minute drill quarterback. They need to know that. They need to accept that, and they need to go for field goals if they're going to be in that position, which they should have done and taken a 3-0 lead to halftime against Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It's just a bit of a struggle. I do think that Jeff Sims is better than he's shown at Nebraska. He had better games at Georgia Tech against weaker defenses, but again, Northwestern's defense not overly great since Mike Hakowitz left their team a few years ago, when they really did have that. A few years they had some top defenses, but it's just to me, it's so difficult right now. Would be difficult to go to Sims. I see what you're saying though, because that's why I understand why he didn't bench him in the second, going into halftime against Colorado, where even like every national broadcaster, Urban Meyer, like everybody was just saying, like,
well, at that
do
point,
they have a backup quarterback?
At that point, I would have benched him.
Well, and I understand that, but again, to do that, like if you were thinking for the season, to me, like if you bench your quarterback, who you chased the other quarterback out of town, brought in and said, this is our guy, and give up on him a game and a half in, I understand it because he was playing so poorly that it wouldn't have been crazy, but I understood why he stuck with him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think there is still something to that of like, if I go through this season and I have 100% Jeff Sims on the bench, am I really even sticking to my plan to try to get year one going? And sure, you have to make adjustments, but Heinrich Harburg has played well, but not so well that he's like the obvious choice. There's a reason we're having a discussion here still.
He's not immune to criticism, and he's not immune to look. I mean, he suffers with his own, again, not as many, but he's had a couple instances where he's thrown a ball that should have been intercepted if the defenders had any semblance of hands.
Well, you usually get one or two of those a game. There was 3 straight on that one drive.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, who would you? Here's my question: Who would you run out there on a 2-minute drive? You're down 5. You need a touchdown. There's 2 minutes and 10 seconds left. You're at your 15-yard line.
Who's that transferring from Ole Miss? Jack Wosh?
I mean, maybe
he throws the ball better, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
On a 2-minute drill, if you need to go 75 yards, whatever, if you need to go however far you need to go in 2 minutes, I mean, it's tough.
You just don't have the offense for it.
You don't.
I mean, you might be able to engineer it somehow, but
you'd find out a way. My thing is, like, my only hesitancy with Sims over Harbor, well, I guess one of my two is the turnovers, is Sims, and I understand it was only 2 games, wasn't really targeting the tight ends as much. Borkacher had 3 catches in the 2 games. Fedoni had 1, whereas, and again, they're roommates, Fedoni and Harburg have a better connection.
Yeah.
And I think with how much you run the ball and how much you can use those underneath routes to your tight ends, that is going to be very important in Sims, not turning the ball over and keeping drives alive and not having to take as many chances, especially with Marcus Washington and Isaiah Garcia Castaneda out for the season. Now you're relying on 5'10" Billy Kemp and 3 freshman wide receivers and a former walk-on and Alex Bullock, who's now on scholarship, but former walk-on. So you're relying on a receiving core that is very depleted. Neither one of your quarterbacks throws the ball all that well. And again, you want to talk about floors and ceilings and whatever. I just think that Sims, just as a pure athlete, I want to see one more. I want to give him one more shot to prove that he can be the starting quarterback. You brought him in. You named him the starter at the beginning of the season. If he is healthy, I think that he should get one more chance. I'm not saying you leave him in the whole game regardless of what happens, but I'm just saying at least a quarter, maybe. If he throws another interception, then you can pull him and be like, all right, Harburg's back in. And if you're scared of ruining the momentum of Harburg or whatever, you're still warming up the same way. The only thing is you're not getting that first drive, which, I mean, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Then again, I'm not a coach. Couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I mean, I think from what I've seen from Sims too, and I think he could spark the offense, and they need a spark. So, maybe there's that. But in taking the problem is in taking Sims out, or excuse me, and putting Sims in, you're taking Harburg out, Harburg, sorry, who would be
put in Harbaugh at quarterback.
There you go. There's got to be another. It's a big family. There's going to be a Harbaugh
They've got to
around
have
there.
somebody.
But Harburg is kind of they're a guy that can right now give them a spark. And it's only been either of them is like that. There's one run for Sims, or there's one or two runs for Harburg throughout the game. But without that, you kind of think, man, that offense really is even held down to check. So I mean, that's what you do there. If to answer my own question about the 2-minute drill, I do think that I've decided on Harburg.
Have you?
Despite the fact that he almost threw 3 interceptions in a row. It's just because I feel like with my problem with Sims partially, and and again, limited game watching him, a game and a half, is that I think both of them you could probably categorize as athletes playing quarterback, learning to play quarterback, and you can give Harburg more of more of an excuse for that because he's young. I mean, he's only started a few games. Sims doesn't get that as much. And so I think Sims is kind of an athlete playing quarterback, but part of just watching them in the first few games, sometimes you could tell if they have it, right? Or just kind of understand it. And that's part of being a quarterback. You don't have to be the most skilled guy on the planet in a lot of these offenses, like a Tommy DeVito last year for Illinois. And he's got enough skill, with anybody within context. We're talking about Power 5 level players, but you just kind of have to know when's the time to take a gamble. When do you throw the ball out of bounds? Sims didn't seem to have that to me, and whether it's the late interception and the forcing that ball when you shouldn't have, when you just needed to take the points, and maybe that wasn't emphasized enough to him, or running out of bounds against Colorado to allow Colorado to have another possession before halftime, which they scored on.
Yep.
And again, it's limited, but that is my concern with him a little bit more, and putting him back out there is you'd somewhat lose the element that Harburg I think has a little bit of just kind of understanding the role, and maybe it's because Harburg hasn't tried to push it, considering where he's been coming into the season. That might change as it moves on, but I just feel like Harburg to me looks a little bit more, and you can make fun of me as much as you want because some of those passes didn't look like it. He looks a little bit more to me like a quarterback that's developing into the quarterback rather than the athlete playing quarterback.
He's got a lot of different arm angles that he can throw from, although he seems to favor that sidearm a little much.
And there's one or two passes where it's like he needed to do it, and it looks great. And it's just like, that looks like Patrick Mahomes out there.
Oh my gosh!
And then there's
careful. We already had one of those.
Mostly, we've already heard that before. But then there's like most of the time when he doesn't, you're like, I don't know why he did that.
You're like, why? You're 6'5". Just throw over the defense. Stop lowering your arm angle. What are you doing? Well, even if we don't agree on who should be the starting quarterback for Northwestern, I think we can all agree on something. Whoever the starting quarterback for Northwestern is going to be the starting quarterback, barring injury, for the rest of the season.
I don't think so.
You sure?
Well, because if they go out there and struggle, I think throughout the season, because there's not too much of a gap between them, that if one of them is
whoever wins against Northwestern,
well, somebody like majorly struggles, or and they can struggle and win. We've already seen that.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever one that's. I think they're just close. I just think they're close, and if one's turning the ball over, you got to go with the other one. And if the other one's if the other one's not turning the ball over, you go with him that day.
The thing is, you don't. This is gonna be weird because he hasn't turned the ball over as much. You don't really trust either one of them to throw the ball all that much.
No,
you're gonna ask both of them to run. Neither one of them has had fumble issues. Knock on wood. But neither one of them
outside of like snapping the ball,
outside of catching the ball or handing out. They both have a fumble handing the ball off to a running back. Sims has the 2 fumbles on the snap. Harburg had one of those also. So outside of passing the ball, they both run the ball extremely well. I don't know which way. They're both physical specimens, both very large quarterbacks.
Both guys that in this offense that you need to be able to run 20 times a game, and they both can.
So I mean, if you take the passing game out, which it almost seems like it's getting taken out by itself as the wide receivers slowly diminish, they both run the ball extremely well. Neither one of them has fumbled. So give or take, either one of them would be a good choice.
Or
as long as you don't have to throw it.
Just a choice.
Just
a choice.
Yeah, either one of them would be a choice
yes.
at quarterback, as long as you don't have to throw it.
That's kind of where I feel like you're at with them. Is it's
who runs better?
Yeah.
Who can? It's gotten to this point. Who can hand the ball off and pitch the ball better? We haven't seen Sims pitch it, have we?
Yeah, Sims option might be good. I think they ran it once.
Harbaugh doesn't want to pitch it.
No, but again, I don't even know with their fumbling issues. That's the danger of the option, especially for an option that's like it's kind of on the fly. They're kind of like, well, we don't have a whole lot. We looked at some old film. We'll do some option, and it's working, and they get some good looks out of it. But this is a team that already fumbles enough that I somewhat understand. I get it too. Like, yeah, there's some lanes. Sometimes the pitch would make a lot of sense, but I get it if they are specifically telling Harbaugh, we're going to run the option here. Only pitch it if like you're not getting hit. I mean, if it's just like obvious.
If it's clearly an open pitch lane and you are not going to go anywhere, get rid of it.
Just like 0% chance at a fumble, you can pitch. If there's anybody near you, do not pitch that ball.
Just hold on to it, please. For the love of everything that is holy, hold on to it. We've got in the last 2 minutes, we've gotten two people, Notorious B.I.B. and Augie. Whatever, put in Chuba.
Which is also, Matt Rhule said today, he would have been thrown in if he was healthy.
Yeah, if Chuba Purdy, nope, not doing that.
Passing quarterback, they called him the passing quarterback.
Not doing that.
2 minute drill. 2 minute drill. I might throw Chuba Purdy because I have 0% confidence in the other two.
I've seen his brother.
Yeah,
if he's anything like his brother,
he can make some strides during the offseason.
I'm just saying. All right. When we come back, we'll bring in Strick. We'll have the crossover leading on to On the Block. We'll be right back. This is the Happy Hour on 93.7 The Ticket.
Download our app by searching 93.7 The Ticket in your app store to stay in touch and listen all day long wherever you are. More of the Happy Hour is next on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It takes a great game plan to win a football game each week, and right now, it's time to plan a trip to get a new car at Mullen Motors. Just like on the football field, there's a wall of defense on the way to Mullen Motors. 48th Street is under construction from Layton all the way to Cornhusker Highway. But the lot at Mullen Motors is full of tons of great vehicles to drive home this fall for the ultimate touchdown. Mullen Motors, still open through road construction at 48th and Walker.
No taglines, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
It's football season, and that means coaches everywhere are busy making game plans. Hi, my name is Seth Morris with Liberty Law Group. Teams make game plans because no two opponents are the same. At Liberty Law, we know no two cases are the same. Whether it's a DUI, a criminal charge, or you were injured and it wasn't your fault, we tailor our legal game plan to meet your unique needs. We are relentless trial attorneys serving all of Nebraska. To learn more, go to libertylawnebraska.com. Again, that's libertylawnebraska.com.
Yet another Nebraska winter is looming, and you know you're going to need tires on your vehicle. Don't fret, they are all on sale now during the October Spectacular event at Graham Tire Company. Buy 3 Kumho tires and get the 4th tire free with the purchase of an install package. Save big on Goodyear, Hankook, Nokian, and more. Big rebates on select Goodyear tires that will double when you use your Goodyear credit card. It's their biggest sale of the year, and it's happening now. GrahamTireLincoln.com, getting you to the places that matter most. Gray Diesel and Equipment Services is your go-to place in Lincoln for repairs and maintenance for diesel pickups to Class 8 over-the-road trucks and trailers, from bumper pole utility to full-size semi. Gray performs DOT inspections and are a service provider for fleet companies like ARI, Element Fleet, and FleetNet. They're a family-owned business in operation since 1952, and they keep a clean, friendly shop. Customer service is their top priority. Give Gray Diesel and Equipment Services a visit today, with easy access just off I-80 and North 56th Street.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Tanner's Bar and Grill, Vinny Kreekak, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
October is full of sports, with football and volleyball reaching midseason and basketball and winter sports starting up. All the excitement of the games brings major stress, and stress causes tight muscles and pain. It's time to call the Body Shop, your place in Lincoln for all types of massages: deep tissue, hydrating, sports, Swedish, hot stone, aroma, and more. And don't forget about their couples massages. Eliminate the pain from sports watching stress today with a massage at the Body Shop at 48th and A and online at thebodyshoplincoln.com.
If you want to make new floor shopping easier, come to O Street Carpet. Hi, I'm Steve Carper. Our flooring professionals can help you choose the best flooring for you, your family, and your budget. We eliminate the confusion. Even better, you'll be enjoying your new flooring much sooner. No 6 or 8 week waits. We'll install right away and save you money on installation. Floor shopping made easy every day at O Street Carpet.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
Are you tired of living in pain? It's time to take control. At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, we're your one-stop shop for expert care in Lincoln. From broken bones to complex reconstruction, our skilled team will help you get back on track. Visit prairieortho.com today and discover why we're the trusted choice for thousands of patients. Don't let pain hold you back. Take the first step towards a better, pain-free life with Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins. Call 402-489-4700.
Is your backyard ready for fun with friends and family this fall? GE Landscape Supply has pavers and boulders, which are a great accent for any landscaping project. And you can find them at 6701 Cornhusker Highway. GE Landscape Supply sells to homeowners and contractors with a vast selection of landscaping and construction materials. And don't forget, they deliver anywhere, nearby or far away. Stop by at 6701 Cornhusker Highway from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday. Go to gelandscapesupply.com for more info or call 402-467-1627. Sandhills Global is hiring. Check out sandhills.jobs for more information. Sandhills is looking to fill hundreds of new openings in sales, traveling support, software development, web design, and more. Sandhills has a professional culture and is fast-paced with a focus on growth, innovation, and leading-edge technologies. Career and internship opportunities are available at our global headquarters in Lincoln, Nebraska. Apply today at sandhills.jobs.
Brown Shoe Fit has all types of shoes for you to excel this fall. Check out their large variety of tennis shoes and dress shoes in brands like Brooks, Hoka, Merrell, On, and many more. Browns has the local professionals to get the proper fit, aided by their high-tech foot scanner by Aetrex. Stop by Brown Shoe Fit today, just south of 66th and Q in Lincoln, or check out their options online at brownshoefitco.com.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
The Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see lots of sunshine with an afternoon high around 72. Tonight we'll see a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy with a low around 52. Tomorrow we'll also see a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise be partly sunny with a high around 78. I'm meteorologist Kyle Cook from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. You're listening to the Happy Hour with Nick Sainert and Enrique Alvarez Clary.
Look at me. This plane is going to Jamaica.
Sponsored by Empire Fence and Netting on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to the Chris crossover here on 93.7 The Ticket, the Happy Hour. Sorry, I have the wrong.
Is Chris Crossover a nickname for an NBA player? That's a good nickname.
They had
because Jake Crossover.
Jamal
Crawford.
Was the guy.
His pro or not pro-am, his whatever thing is
Jay
the
crossover.
Is the crossover like CRAW over?
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
but I don't think there's anybody that's Chris Crossover.
Chris Crossover is a good nickname. Yeah,
That would.
for a point
Is there
guard or
anybody
something,
any good? Well, Chris Paul,
Chris
but he's
Paul.
not a.
yeah, he's already got his.
He's CP3.
He's already got great names. Point guard.
Somebody would like kill a crossover.
CP3PO.
C3PO.
C3PO.
Yeah, C3PO. That's I think they do like Star Wars time, like stuff like that. They're like, oh, C3PO.
Who's the better point guard all time in that Warriors backcourt?
Steph
Curry or
It's Steph.
CP3?
It's not even close.
You're saying who? I mean, listen, don't.
It's no.
Don't knock
no.
off the Tim Hardaway run TMC.
Mm.
Now watch yourself. Tim Hardaway was Spreewell, that
Or
crew,
you say,
and Chris Mullen. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you saying
I was
right
just
now?
saying between the two, but
Oh, I
I
thought
see
you
what
were
you're
saying in
saying. Like the
comparison.
best Golden State backcourt of all time. Okay.
No, I was just saying out of those two, the best is Steph.
Oh, there's no question.
Not
Yeah.
even close.
There's no question.
Like
Yeah.
like
Steph-
Chris Paul.
Steph-
That's two of the best point guards in the same backcourt of all time.
Well,
though.
the crazy thing is Steph really a point guard?
Yeah, that's where you have the
So
argument.
that's an argument. I mean, when you have somebody that literally has changed, when you have certain guys that have changed the game, there's certain guys that have done that. You had Wilt, Kareem is one that kind of changed the game with just one shot.
Yeah.
And then you had like you had Shaq.
Yep.
Then you had Michael, and then you've got to look at Steph.
Yeah.
You got to look at him as a transcender of someone who has literally changed the way the game is played, and he's that. He took it to an analytical standpoint.
Everybody
and I loved how he just grew, because in the end of the physical era, he struggled. Like there was a lot of bodies on him. There was, post action.
It was when he had those ankle injuries he was dealing with also coming straight to Davidson.
But the thing is, he worked. Like you could tell he got stronger. He worked on his body. He worked, in different areas of his skill set that helped him to have the longevity that he's had at success. Then, he did it with the three-headed monster. But then he did it outside of so that makes him uniquely, better to me than like a Kevin Durant or, someone along those lines, because he actually was one of the ones that were able to, take it by the reins and do it himself.
He did it with the team that was drafted around him. Then he did it with another Hall of Fame superstar. And then he did it with the team that was drafted around him and a guy that was kind of thrown by the wayside in Andrew Wiggins. So
yeah. And
he's done it with a lot.
He's done it
with a
lot
lot of different.
of that too was Iggy.
Yeah.
But Iggy was politicking to get there dang near through a good portion of his career outside of Philly. He was doing a little politicking,
Philly.
The buddy stuff is the thing that kind of gives me the ick.
For the NBA.
I want to
partnering up with buddies.
Is it that part, just the partnering up, or is it just the fact that all of them are so like, even after games, like they're all still close and like there's no like.
Well, I mean, in the day we hung out with opponents, but not to that level. I mean, even MJ hung out with, Charles Barkley. I mean, guys would hang out. I mean, but the thing that you didn't see is I'm leaving this unit that I've built to go somewhere else.
Too much like pride and like
right.
Yeah. Like
So-
Reggie Miller stayed with Indiana.
Yeah,
You played
Reggie
with him.
would
Yeah.
you would never see Reggie go to play in New York.
Just play with the Knicks. Yeah.
You would not see it. Reggie is not going to play with the Knicks. He's one of the guys that, spent his, full career where he was. Dirk got one done. That cemented a legacy for Dirk. Obviously, Tim Duncan. Similar to what happened out there in Golden State. They created a dynasty. And you kind of see these in kind of smaller market teams where that possibility happens.
Or at least they try and they try to hit that window.
Yeah.
And if that window doesn't happen, then all of a sudden people are just getting shipped off.
Giannis might be the modern day version of that. Now that Milwaukee's got him some help.
Exactly. And it's sad when you see guys like, James Harden just can't figure it out or get out his own way. Or
it's definitely on him.
Well, it's always, for Harden, it's always everybody else's fault. There's something else going on.
Like it's definitely all on him every time. Like now, I think we can all realize that now, and we can see that. Like in OKC, that wasn't his fault. They didn't want to re-sign him. They didn't re-sign him. They re-signed Serge Ibaka. So he was like, "All right, well, if you don't want me, then I'm going to leave." So he went to Houston. In Houston, he was like, "Oh, this and that and the third," and ended up getting traded to where did he go first?
Houston, then
to Brooklyn.
Then to DC. From Houston, I think he went to DC.
I don't think he was with.
That's Westbrook.
Yes, he was.
No, it was
Westbrook. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about Harden.
Oh, Harden.
With Harden, they didn't want to re-sign him in OKC. They signed Serge. So then he went to Houston.
And
then
then
in Houston, he went to Brooklyn.
To Brooklyn.
Because he was like, oh, this is
Then
a problem.
Philly.
So then he went to Brooklyn. And then in Brooklyn, it was a problem because he wasn't getting the touches or whatever with Kevin Durant
Well, they
and Kyrie.
couldn't play. They couldn't. I mean, they didn't even get on the court, but
16,
20 games or something.
And then he gets traded to Philly. And now in Philly, it's I don't like Daryl Morey and whatever the heck else is going on. But it's Daryl Morey was with you in Houston, and I don't know if that was part of the problem or whatever. But it's always James Harden. It's always something is wrong wherever he's at, and that's why he needs to leave.
But the part of the problem too with him has always been playoffs, because his playoff numbers dip quite a bit. Because in the regular season, they'll make those calls, but the rest are going to swallow their list. Let the players play a little bit in the playoffs, and he gets so many of his points from the free throw line that it diminishes quite a bit in the playoffs, and he's just come up short in a lot of those games where he's just throwing out stinkers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's definitely struggled, and I mean we're starting to get it off and running right now. What's going to interest me in the NBA is going to definitely be who comes to the forefront of the Western Conference.
Can Denver keep their lock on
right?
Yeah.
Will LA stay healthy enough to make a run? Will Chris Paul ruin the chemistry in Golden State, or will
he's
it all
usually
work
good
out
where
there?
he usually helps teams where he goes.
The move that Phoenix made, is it going to be enough?
Is the big question.
You know what I mean?
But no, not like that he's like a bad teammate or anything. It's just where is Steph and Chris going to play? Are they going to play on the court together? Or is Chris going to come off
liabilities?
Yeah, is Chris going to come off the bench? Is he okay with that? Like that's my thing. Is are things going to work out there with them? Yeah, Phoenix is a big one. Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, and I can't remember his name, the big man from Portland that they got in the trade.
For Nurkic, Nurkic.
Nurkic, very underrated part of that trade.
I think that was a
massive
big pickup
get
for them. I think
because
so.
he's better defensively and at getting rebounds than DeAndre Ayton. He's not as good offensively, but I think his post game is enough where you're not going to feed it to him, but you don't have to because you have three amazing scorers in Beal, Booker, and Durant.
Yeah, his garbage stuff or his stay around, he's very heady to be able to find those little spots, those zones. He's got enough touch to be able to step just enough outside of a range to create a little bit of space. Yeah, he does a lot of different stuff that Aiden doesn't. Aiden's very 1-2 dimensional.
Then I'm still kind of thinking Memphis too, because Memphis obviously are going to go without Ja for a while,
but
they played better
unknowns.
without him.
Yeah, those are the unknowns. And then the pieces that have been lost. Is Bane going to take another level step? So you've got some things there. What's going to happen when you look at the Pelicans? Are the Pelicans? What's going to happen with Zion? I love their actual makeup. I think they're a dangerous team. So there's a lot of just
if he can play,
and then you've got a young OKC team that's scary.
Yeah,
I mean they're not going anywhere. They're a dangerous young, feisty passing type of team.
And here's something that's not going to happen, but if it did happen, if Paul George and Kawhi Leonard stayed healthy for one playoff run, they could make a run.
That's always loaded.
That's what I'm saying. It's unknown.
Yeah,
you've got Wembanyama down in San Antonio. They're not going to be great, but they're going to be fun. Probably
be interesting to watch.
Houston. Who gets kicked off the team first? I guess that's kind of what we're going with.
That part.
That's
and then Dallas.
Who gets in trouble first in Houston?
Dallas
now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Dallas,
So Dallas did something very good in that they unloaded a lot of cap room with that, just heavy cap room. Bertans getting rid of him and that, just different moves that they did allowed them. So whether or not those extra pieces fit in support roles, but then you've got Kyrie and Doncic, whether or not over the offseason they have some gelling that they were able to put together.
Got a full offseason work together.
Having a full training camp together is going to tell a lot about that.
Do you think there's hope in that pairing?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so. It's going to depend. It's going to depend on Jason Kidd and the conversations he's able to have with both of them. Like the way that I can kind of tell you this is very similar to when I was in Boston with Paul and Antoine. Going into that season, Coach O'Brien sat them down individually and collectively and said, none of this is going to happen without you. They already wrote us off and think we're at the bottom. But if you guys don't know that you're going to get your touches, you're going to get your opportunities, you're going to get your shots, but if you don't figure out that your other guys need you too, or you need them, then it's not going to be successful. That's why it was crazy. Like there'd be games where I'd lead the team in scoring. There'd be games when Kenny would lead the team in scoring, and Eric Williams would also. But it was rare. But it was games where the defense maybe was there. So that's the conversation that Jason Kidd's going to have with them to say, hey, listen, both of you are alphas. We don't need alpha clashing. We need alpha thrashing. You know what I'm saying? Where we need both of y'all to just be able to play off of each other, do the work. When it's called upon or it's mismatched situations, y'all to take over.
Just work at the same time.
Work at the same time and on the same page. Then you look out east.
Well, I was going to
say,
very
open out east.
In the West, there's also 2 teams that we forgot about. One team that is just kind of still underrated, Sacramento.
Oh, shoot, yeah.
Watch out for Sacramento.
Dangerous.
And then for me, Minnesota, this is make or break. This is it.
Yeah.
For at least for Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
Like if you can't make the playoffs and at least win a first round series, I don't know. I don't know what Minnesota's going to do.
Minnesota's just stuck in purgatory.
Yeah, I agree.
That's where they've been.
Yeah, they're just trapped there forever. And then like you were going to say, out east is
so wide open. It's just going to depend on the moves.
Well, it's going to be a rock fight after Milwaukee.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to depend on whether the moves that were made. You know how when they're paving streets and they put the cones up and they don't want you to touch it, or when you're doing a driveway, they don't want anybody to walk because it'll. Whether those moves settle and still don't have the softness to it. So, for example, Philly still got to decide on how that's going to move. You finally get Harden to come back after missing a day and a couple days of training camp and getting into that. But then you don't know what's going to happen in Boston. You don't know if that's going to settle to allow it to be Harden enough for the Porzingis situation. I like the move. But is it gonna stick?
I hate that move.
I mean, I understand it. Let me just say I understand it. But you don't know what's gonna happen there. Then you don't sleep on Cleveland. Like Cleveland is dangerous. They play great defense. They know who their guys are. Garland, you're gonna have him and Donovan Mitchell.
Yep.
And Atlanta, I just don't like Trey and DeJounte. I just don't like that.
I'm just gonna throw Atlanta away.
They'll be Orlando, Miami didn't get the moves that they made, but they're still the same.
They playoff Jimmy. You get to the playoffs.
Emo Jimmy.
So, how fun can Charlotte be? We don't know. I mean, it's just too many unknowns.
Kai Jones requested a trade.
Well, shoot.
You'd much rather be in the East than the West, is what we get to at the end of that.
The New York Knicks will finish 3rd in the East.
Well, Knicks. I mean, you just don't know. There's so many unknowns.
They're going to be great. RJ Barrett with his run, his FIBA World Cup run with Canada. They're going to be great.
Yeah, we'll see.
Julius Randle hopefully takes a step forward. He's wearing Skechers shoes now. Whatever. Don't know what happened there. He's like sponsored by Skechers now. He's like, I don't know.
That doesn't sound good.
It's weird. We'll see what happens to Julius Randle. But that's really going to do it here on the Happy Hour. If I can get this music started, we got about a minute left. What do you guys got planned coming up next on the block?
Oh yeah, I mean we're gonna talk about Monday Night Football and what's going on. Ugly game, but we were thinking that Jordan Love had taken a step, but obviously that didn't happen. Garoppolo is Garoppolo. We're gonna talk a little bit about that. We'll get into the kicking, the returns, like. Is it a do away with? Do you like it how it is? What changes should be made? We'll get into some of the numbers and how it's dramatically shifted from, you being able to do that. What are things that you can do? And then we'll talk a little bit more about just the coaching debacles. We didn't get into that yesterday, but me and Bach will get into just the coaches are terrible.
Yeah. Shout out to Mario
over
Cristobal.
the weekend. Yeah, there you go.
That's going to do it for the Happy Hour on the block with Stricken Bach up next.
The
on
originals.
93.7 The Ticket. Adios.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solution. solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Looking for a convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Now through October 13th, you can join for just $1 down, $10 a month. We've got over 2,400 locations with most open 24 hours. Join now to enjoy free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Whether you're new to a gym or a fitness pro, the Judgment-Free Zone is the place for you. Join Planet Fitness today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment. Cancel anytime. Deal ends October 13th. See Home Club for details.
It's football season, and that means coaches everywhere are busy making game plans. Hi, my name is Seth Morris with Liberty Law Group. Teams make game plans because no two opponents are the same. At Liberty Law, we know no two cases are the same. Whether it's a DUI, a criminal charge, or you were injured and it wasn't your fault, we tailor our legal game plan to meet your unique needs. We are relentless trial attorneys serving all of Nebraska. To learn more, go to libertylawnebraska.com. Again, that's libertylawnebraska.com.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show, powered by Sunbelt Rentals. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHA